What's the greatest pro wrestling photograph of all time, and why is it this? So recently on social media, WrestleMania.com posted, "Drop the best wrestling photo ever, I'll start." I thought I'd do a deep dive into it, have a look at it, see what wrestling photos were put up there, and see if anyone has put forward the greatest wrestling photograph of all time, which, as we know, is this. So the first thing I noticed is the majority of the photos that were submitted fell into two categories, either great moments or high action things in matches that happened. So that was quite an interesting distinction. I'll just talk about the images as they pop up. This is one of my favourite ones, this one here of Okada and Suzuki in the rain. I remember when this was taken, probably around about 2017, 2018, I'm not sure, but I've seen a bigger version of that one, and the water droplets are absolutely pin sharp in that one. That's an absolutely cracking shot. This one's great. This is wonderful. I remember seeing this one. So there's lots of this image all about sort of chaos and perspective there, and it's a perspective that many of us who watch this, the Hell in the Cell between Undertaker and Mankind, wouldn't have seen, from inside the cell, looking up at the Undertaker, looking through at the carnage sort of below. And I love the perspective of the official there with the hands up towards the Undertaker, and you can just see Mankind there in the back, and the fans are pressed up against the cage as well on the side there. But really, really interesting use of perspective and a great capture of what is an absolutely sort of a monumental moment in wrestling. So this captures a moment that everyone's familiar with and does it in a perfect format there. I love seeing images like this from that era of where they were probably still shooting film or early stages of digital ringside, but more likely film. And you didn't get that immediacy from the photos as we do now, where photos are posted as the events are going on. But yeah, this is a real moment in history, this one. That's a great one. Stone Cold giving the stunner to Shane. All of the beer in the air there, captured at high speed, so everything's sort of pin sharp there. Yep, chaos again at Raw 25. Another Hell in a Cell one here, and again from the perspective from inside the cell, with a bloody Shawn Michaels there in the foreground and Undertaker and Kane. So the introduction of Kane happened on this night, but I like the drawing of Shawn in the foreground here with the bloodied hand and the bloodied face, drawing your eye into the background of the picture there. That's interesting. A couple here. I think I was here this night for, I think I'm probably bottom left here. One of the channel subscribers is there. There's Marie. So this is Moxley's debut at AEW, where he sort of came through the crowd there and tore it up in the ring. I think Omega and Jericho were in the ring at the time. But yeah, lovely moment again with all of the crowd in unison behind him there. So that works really, really well. This is a famous one. I think the famous one of him sort of really leaning the head back, of Austin really leaning the head back covered in blood, is actually a video grab. So this is clearly a still capture, I think, from ringside there, and yeah, the making of a legend, I suppose, in one image there. Really, really good capture. Undertaker always makes for great entrances, as we know, but I remember the visual of this at WrestleMania with the hands coming up from underneath, and this again is a good capture here with the silhouette backlit, so we can clearly see it's Undertaker there with all of the hands coming up. Makes for a really, really dramatic entrance shot there with the dry eyes working around everything, working together in unison. Really good capture, that one. And again, Undertaker again working again with silhouette here. I think this is Randy Orton coming away from the ring and him standing on top of the Hell in the Cell as Randy's being led away post-match. So again, there's a certain narrative here. There's a certain sense of storytelling that's happening here, I think from Armageddon 05, according to the caption there. This is a capture here that really symbolises an entire era of WWE wrestling. Austin versus McMahon that just ran and really turned the company, turned the fortunes of the company on its head. And just the boss and the blue collar worker there face to face. Really good capture there, really good storytelling, and again one for the ages, something that resonates through for decades beyond, I suppose. There we go. Hogan and Andre facing off in the ring, symbolises so much of sort of 80s wrestling for fans of that era, and the could Hulkamania overcome the Giant? An image I tried to replicate years later with Walter and Tyler Bate at Wembley Arena in London. An image that's so synonymous with wrestling, the big guy versus the well, it's Hulk Hogan. Is he that little? I don't think he is. An image that sort of transcends the ideology of wrestling into modern popular culture, I suppose. Britt Baker here from the St. Patrick's Day Slam for AEW, covered in blood, doing, again, blood so synonymous with wrestling as well, and leads to really, really dramatic photos. What always got me about this shot was how bloodshot her eyes looked as well, which sort of like leans into the whole the whole portrait, the whole crimson mask, you know, makes it look almost demonic and yeah, something otherworldly, I suppose, rather than simply just being, you know, a bloody competitor in a match. But yeah, fantastic capture here from ringside, pin sharp, and you can see all of the little droplets of blood coming down as well. Not sure if this is a video capture or still, but it's John Cena there on the rampway, WrestleMania 28. She's beaten in the main event here by, I guess he was up against The Rock. And the power of branding, the power of the fact that this WrestleMania thing is bigger than the WWE, is bigger than wrestling. It's got that branding element to it. And I think if you've ever been to a WrestleMania, you'll know how that thing takes on a life of its own and what a big spectacle it is. Yeah, wonderful framing, good low wide angle there, and just Cena very aware of what he's doing and where he is for that photo. So yeah, expertly captured. This is from SummerSlam 2000. This one popped up quite a bit. This is Blackman versus Shane, and just the sheer scale of this fall and this bump, and the odd sort of surreal leg placement of Shane as he's sort of falling from the scaffolding there. It just looks otherworldly with the crowd behind, and of course the branding in there as well. Got to get the branding in. Yeah, something quite odd about that shot, quite unnerving about that shot, but also quite peaceful at the same time. But an insane height to take that bump from there. Love this one with the framing within the frame. Jeff Hardy stood on top of the scenery there, and having his portrait on the Titantron in the background, giving us that double exposure almost feel to the shot there. Really great capture, that one. This is a really famous one here from a really famous match, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and just the kick out at 2 and the look of despair from the Undertaker's face and the drama sort of encapsulated in one shot there. Again, capturing a not an action shot so much, but a moment. And it's so often I talk about how moments between the moves are so important in photography and wrestling. Scott Hall said that this was the most signed 10x8 he was ever asked to do, and again, it's capturing that moment. The 2 belts on top of the ladder at the end of the ladder match tells the story, and the bad guy there looking every inch the bad guy, looking every inch the superstar, from, you know, the resolution of a great match. And it's a great photo to showcase that as well. Good high angle for on the hard cam side there. Photographer working well to get that capture, obviously in an age where it would have been film again, so he would have been up there for, you know, for a period of time, but you would have only had a limited period of time to capture that shot, and to get a shot that a legend like that has to sign decades later, for so many fans. Got the alternate angle here from the Hell in the Cell, from above looking down. My favourite video that WWE have ever produced, and I don't know why it's not been repeated since, was WrestleMania 10. Brett versus Owen with the overhead cam. It's just such an interesting angle on the art of professional wrestling, and especially with the little kick at the end that Owen gives Brett and the little finger up like that. And so many famous sporting shots. I'm thinking mainly of Neil Leafer's shots of Ali and Foreman from overhead, where the symmetry of the ring makes for a frame within a frame. And I think, like, we're not quite over and above here, but those sorts of shots take the art form, take everything about wrestling and put it in a box, and therefore give it a frame for you to sort of envelop yourself in. And I wish there was more opportunities to do that. I did once, I think it was the Chicago Allstate Arena. I got lost and I ended up nearly at the rigging at the top of the arena, and I flirted with the idea of, could I get up here during the show? Could I do something overhead? And it all looked like there was far too much risk and danger. felt like I needed like harnesses and good clips and things to stay safe up there, so I never took the risk. But maybe it's one thing I've got left to tick off on the box, I suppose. This is quite a recent one from AEW. This is Scott Lesh, and this is the Sting and Darby and Edge, sort of like on the 1, 2, 3, the past, the present, and the future, I suppose, of pro wrestling all in one shot with the matching outfits. And we've got the face paint of Adam Copeland on this side, and we've got the dry ice around, and we've got the cameras in the foreground as well, giving us a little bit of context. So a really, really great image here from Scott. Scott did another one. Let me see if I can find it. It's really great when your images go viral, and I think that again with the looking down the middle of the lens and the double finger, and the fact that he's doing it to MJF as well is just. So I was really pleased to see this one get over 250,000 views online. So it's a great capture, and well done to him. This one's a real famous one here. Punk blowing the kiss to Vince as he went off. What a weird time in wrestling that was, with Money in the Bank and not knowing what was going to happen next, and seeing the championship belt turn up in Punk's fridge a couple of hours later. And yeah. Interesting time in pro wrestling, that, and yeah, again, well captured with just Vince just over the shoulder there, so we can sort of see the context of where the kiss is being blown. Again, another one here showing you the power of the WrestleMania branding and having the fireworks in the background and knowing where to be, with Seth Rollins there with the championship holding it up above the head and all the fireworks going off in the background, the perfect way to end a pay-per-view. And this is a shot that I get asked to recreate a lot in studio with wrestlers and with couples within wrestling, again synonymous with an age, and having Randy with the finger point up there, and having Liz up on his shoulder with the championship on her shoulder. So you got like that, almost like that 1, 2, 3 working together, again capturing a moment and a time in wrestling that can't be repeated. And that's the beauty of photography, is capturing moments in time that cannot be repeated. This one here from Robin at Beyond Gorilla was captured, I think, at a Rev Pro show, and the timing on this one from Walter, now Gunther, the timing on the shot to get that implosion in the chest and that amazing ripple is something else. It looks awfully painful. I always wince when I see it. I don't enjoy looking at this shot. It always makes me wince, but what great timing, and what good shape and form throughout the picture. There's one. There's just two big badasses walking down the beach at on Baywatch. I think this is probably, I cannot believe Sid's sliders there is outrageous. Matching blue sliders for the knee pads and the trunks. I just had to share that one because it made me smile. Great shot here of the Demon coming through from the smoke behind and just coming through into the arena there, and a lovely profile shot as well with all of the paraphernalia going on around. That's a great shot. Again, another moment, Shawn Michaels elevation to his first championship, ring cleared, fans behind, but just Shawn there alone looking at that championship belt after the Iron Man match. It's a great capture. See, this Andre Hogan stuff is honestly, this Andre Hogan shot it echoes it happens. I'm not even joking, it happens everywhere. And there we go, there's Brock. Brock is the little guy, who'd have thought it, you know? Of course. How could it not be? The most the most parodied Halloween costume for wrestling fans up and down the country, I suppose. That one is great. What an interesting angle that is. Oh my god, I assume that's Big Show versus Akibono. I could be wrong. But yeah, great angle through the legs. Framing within a frame. I remember, I don't know if it's a photograph or a video capture. I think it's a photograph, but yeah, again, it's just funny, isn't it? It's just a funny shot. So that's some of the images that were submitted on that thread. I might start my own on Twitter. If you can, put in the comments below what your favourite wrestling photograph of all time is. We might do a follow-up video and see if we can get some of your suggestions into a video. The greatest wrestling photograph of all time, though, cannot be topped. It is this. It's Bret Hart in the Canadian tuxedo with the amazing sunglasses, the fantastic boots, and that beautiful scenery behind him. Set off to the left-hand side, using the composition rule of 2/3. Beautiful use of a colour palette behind him, all the blues in the background of the icy mountains working with the blues and the denim. It cannot be beaten, of course. Bret Hart, greatest wrestling photograph of all time. Tell me I'm wrong. Put the ones that you think are better than that below, and we'll see if we can feature them in a future video. If you've liked this, then you might like some of our other videos. They're popping up around about here. Check out some of our ringside work. And if you can, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on the Instagram and the Twitter. It's at Y2JimBob. It's Portrait of a Wrestler everywhere else. And as ever, all the very best.